I want to start with a number, not a big number, not a number that appears in any financial planning advertisement as the goal you are working toward. A small number, the number that arrived in my bank account on the 3rd of every month, and that was, when I retired at 67, the entire financial foundation of the rest of my life. $1,515. That was it. No pension, no 401k worth mentioning. I had one, briefly, in my 40s, and then my husband got sick and the medical bills made their own decision about that money. No investment income, no rental property, no inheritance, nothing in reserve except $14,000 in a savings account that I protected the way you protect the last thing you have, which is with the specific vigilance of someone who knows there is nothing behind it. $1,515 a month. Social Security only. The sum total of what 38 years of working as a school cafeteria manager, a home health aide, a church secretary in my final years had produced in monthly income. I want to be clear that I am not presenting this as a failure. I worked. I paid in. I raised 2 children mostly alone after my husband died in 2009. I made the choices available to me, in the circumstances available to me, and this is where they led. In Springfield, Missouri, $1,515 a month looked like this. Rent of $795 for a 1-bedroom apartment. Utilities averaging $160. Medicare Part B deducted automatically, $174.70. Medicare supplement, $98. Prescriptions, $71. Groceries, $195. Car insurance, $94. Phone, $45. That was $1,632.70 against $1,515 coming in, backwards by $117.70 every single month before anything unexpected happened. The $14,000 was shrinking. At $117 a month, it lasted 10 years. At anything goes wrong, it lasted considerably less. My name is Irene. I am 71 years old. I live in Dumaguete City in the Philippines. My monthly expenses are $548. My monthly income is $1,515. I want to spend the next 30 minutes telling you exactly what happened between the Springfield apartment and this life, because I think there are more people sitting with a number like $1,515 than anyone is talking to directly. This is for you. The woman with the Social Security check and nothing else. The woman who did the math and got an answer she didn't know what to do with. The woman who is not looking for luxury or adventure, but simply for a way to make the numbers work before the numbers stop working. I want to tell you about Springfield first, not because it deserves blame. I lived 26 years in it and raised my children there and buried my husband there and made friends I still love. But because I think you need to understand exactly what $1,515 a month was and wasn't capable of producing there. What $1,515 produced in Springfield was adequacy with no margin. I ate. I kept the heat on. I had a car and a phone and a Medicare supplement, so I wasn't terrified of a medical bill. I was not in crisis. I was in the specific condition that is worse than crisis in some ways, because it doesn't look like an emergency from the outside. It looks like getting by, which is what everyone assumed I was doing, and which I was, technically, in the sense that I had not yet run out. But the $14,000 was $13,882 and then $13,765, and the direction was only one direction. The thing about spending 38 years as a cafeteria manager and home health aide is that you develop a practical, unglamorous relationship with numbers. You apply clear-eyed accounting to your own life because that is the only skill you have that nobody can take away from you. And the accounting said, 6 years if nothing goes wrong. Something will go wrong. The options from inside Springfield were these: a cheaper apartment, But cheaper wasn't cheap enough to move the math. Moving in with my daughter Patrice in Kansas City, which I was not willing to do because I had spent 38 years being the person who solved problems rather than the person who became one. Various assistance programs that helped at the margins and not enough. Then there was the option I found at 11 at night in February, lying in bed with my phone because I wasn't sleeping. The Philippines found me through a video of a woman about my age holding a fan of Philippine peso bills and smiling. I almost scrolled past it. I watched instead because it was late and I had nothing to lose. She was not selling anything. She was a 70-year-old woman from Ohio who received $1,515 in Social Security, the exact same number as mine, and who was living in a city called Dumaguete in the Philippines, and who had, at the end of every month, $900 left over after all expenses. I watched it 3 times. Then I spent 4 months researching. I joined expat forums and read every thread I could find about Social Security-only retirement in the Philippines. I paid most attention to the accounts that included complaints and honest assessments of what was hard. Anyone can find the good parts. The useful information is in the caveats. I asked one question in the forum that I think is the question most women in my situation are afraid to ask. I have $1,515 a month in Social Security and $14,000 in savings and no other income. Is this actually workable in Dumaguete, or is this one of those situations where the videos make it look better than it is? 14 responses came back in 3 days. 12 were from women living there on Social Security only. Everyone said yes, it works. Most gave me their actual monthly numbers. 2 offered to answer follow-up questions privately. I talked to one of them, a woman named Diane from Minnesota, who had been in Dumaguete for 3 years, on $1,420 a month, less than me, for 2 hours on the phone. She told me everything, the good and the hard, and the things she wished she had known. By the end, I had more useful information than 2 months of independent research had produced. I owe Diane a debt I have never been able to fully repay. I told my daughter Patrice in June. She asked practical questions rather than expressing the worry directly, which is how Patrice worries. How will you handle health care? What about emergencies? What if you don't like it? I answered every question. The last one I answered by saying that not finding out, because I was afraid, meant staying in Springfield, watching the $14,000 become $13,000, become $12,000, until the math ran out. She hugged me for a long time at the airport. I held it together until I was through security. Then I sat at the gate and let myself feel all of it for a few minutes. Then I picked up my carry-on and boarded the plane. I arrived in Dumaguete on a Wednesday afternoon in October. The heat met me at the airport door completely and without negotiation, and I stood on the sidewalk with my 2 suitcases and thought, Irene, you are 69 years old, and you have done something either very brave or very foolish. Then a tricycle driver appeared and said, Where are you going, ma'am? I told him. He loaded my bags and we drove into the city, and I watched Dumaguete doing its late afternoon things, market vendors packing up, school children in their uniforms, the smell of something cooking that I would learn to identify as adobo, and I thought, I am in it now. Whatever this is, I am in it. My guest house was run by a woman named Ate Linda. Ate means older sister, a form of address I received on my first day and have never stopped finding moving, who put food in front of me within 20 minutes of arrival without asking what I wanted. I understand now that this is standard Filipino hospitality. I understood then simply that a woman who could see I was tired and hungry had done something about it. She helped me find my apartment on day 5. She walked me there and negotiated the rent in Cebuano I couldn't follow, then told me afterwards she had negotiated because I was going to be here a long time and should start with a fair number. She had known me 5 days. She had no stake in my rent. She did it because I was there and needed someone to, and she was someone who could. That moment told me something about this country that no amount of research had. The apartment, 1 bedroom in a small building in Kamanjak, 5 minutes from the Palenque, 10 from the boulevard. Tiled floors, ceiling fans, a wall unit in the bedroom, a small kitchen, a bathroom, a covered area outside the front door where I put 2 plastic chairs and where I drink my morning coffee. Rent, 11,500 pesos a month, $203. Now let me give you all the numbers, precisely and honestly. Rent, $203. Electricity, bedroom air conditioning at night, ceiling fans during the day, $43 average. Water, $7. Internet fiber, $23, plus $9 mobile backup for outages. Phone, $9 on a local SIM. My helper Coring comes 4 days a week. She is 57, has a son in the merchant marine she misses with a completeness I recognize, and manages my apartment with a capability I could not replicate alone. She cleans, does laundry, shops for me when I'm unwell, and has appeared at my door 6 times with food from her own kitchen because she decided I needed it. She costs 2,800 pesos a month, $50. I have tried to pay more. She has refused, saying the amount is correct. Food, market shopping twice a week at approximately $14 per visit, plus 4 or 5 dinners a week at Ate Nona's Carinderia, where a full meal costs between $1.40 and $1.80. Total food including eating out, $145 a month. Medications, 3 prescriptions. Blood pressure, thyroid, low-dose aspirin, cost a combined $19 a month here. In Springfield with Medicare. Part D, the same 3 cost me $71. The $52 monthly difference matters considerably on $1,515. Dr. Mercado, my doctor, $13 per visit, 4 times a year. She trained in Manila, has practiced in Dumaguete 14 years, calls me Ate Irene, spends 40 minutes per appointment, and has caught 2 things in routine blood work over 21 months that needed attention. Both times the catching happened because she was actually looking at my results, not scanning them. Medical evacuation insurance, $178 a year, about $15 a month, non-negotiable. Medicare does not cover me outside the United States. I have a written emergency plan. Doc Mercado has a copy. Coring has a copy. Patrice has a copy. Incidentals, transport, reading program donations, the Friday San Miguel on the Boulevard that I consider a necessary operating expense, $30 a month. Total monthly expenses, $548. Income, $1,515. Monthly surplus, $967. In 21 months, I have not touched my $14,000. I have added $20,307 to it. My savings are now $34,307 and growing. On Social Security only. On the income that in Springfield was slowly and inevitably running out. The same $1,515 that was failing in Missouri is succeeding in the Philippines. The income did not change. The country did. That is the entire story. Let me tell you what the days are, because the days are the point. 5:30 in the morning. The rooster situation in this neighborhood operates on its own schedule, and I have made my peace with it. I make coffee, the Baracco blend. Coring buys at the market, which has permanently ruined my relationship with any other coffee, and take it to the 2 plastic chairs outside my door. I sit for 20 minutes doing nothing purposeful. The street comes alive around me. Tricycles, a vendor with a cart, the morning light arriving from the east. I drink the coffee and let the day begin without me managing it. This was not available to me in Springfield. I did not know I needed it until I had it. The Palenque on Wednesday and Saturday mornings, 15 minutes on foot. I have a fish vendor named Lita, who moves with the efficiency of someone for whom speed is a form of respect for the customer's time. A vegetable vendor named Manang Sol, who established on our 3rd meeting that she is 2 years younger than me, as a fact, not a boast, and who calls me Manang Irene and has memorized what I cook. A fruit vendor named Boy, who has the best mangoes in Dumaguete, and who knows I believe this, and who treats my loyalty as both a commercial fact and a personal compliment. The reading program at the community center on Monday and Thursday mornings. I sit with children learning to read in English. There is a girl named Marisol who arrived in September unable to read at grade level, and who by December was reading independently, and who now arrives Monday mornings with the confidence of someone who has discovered a capability and is not done exploring it. Watching Marisol read is the most satisfying thing I do in any given week. 38 years of jobs that needed doing, and nothing produced what watching a child become a reader produces. Ate Nona's in the evenings. Table by the window. Ate Nona's judgment about what I should eat has proven consistently better than my own. Fresh food, real food, under $2, 21 months, not once tired of it. The boulevard when I have the energy for the extra walk. Rizal Boulevard at 6 o'clock is the city deciding to be beautiful for an hour before dark. Families, students, vendors, children running with the joy of children who haven't been told yet that joy requires justification. I have a bench I favor. The chessmen nearby nod when I arrive, and nod when I leave and require nothing beyond that. It is exactly the right amount of human acknowledgement at the end of a day. I want to tell you what is hard, because I said I would tell you the whole thing. I miss Patrice and Renee in a way that will not resolve. I miss my grandchildren, 9 and 12, who grow on a phone screen rather than in front of me. My granddaughter lost her first tooth and showed it through the camera, and I said all the right things, and then sat with the weight of not having been there. That weight is real. You learn to carry it alongside the life you are building. You keep building anyway. The heat in April tests everything I have. By May, I have adapted. By June, I've forgotten it seemed unbearable. But April is real, and I won't pretend otherwise. The visa process required a professional. I hired an agent in month 3. The SRRV, the long-term retiree visa, required a $10,000 deposit in a Philippine bank account, which earns modest interest and comes back to me if I ever leave. Getting it took 4 months of paperwork managed entirely by the agent. The peace of mind on the other side was worth every peso of the fee. The internet fails during storms. I have a mobile backup. The outages have become, in my reframing of them, enforced rest from screens, which is not the worst thing. And there is a gap, small and permanent, between me and the deepest belonging here. At fiestas, in the old songs everyone else has known since childhood, I feel it. I have made my peace with it, because what surrounds the gap is more than enough. I am 71 years old. I have $1,515 a month in Social Security and no other income. I live in a real apartment, in a real neighborhood, in a real city. I eat fresh fish from a woman who knows my name. I have a doctor who has 40 minutes. I have a helper who appears with food from her own kitchen when she decides I need it. I have a child named Marisol who arrives Monday mornings with the confidence of someone who knows she is getting better at something important and wants me to see it. On $1,515 a month. Social Security only, the same number that was failing in Springfield, Missouri. If you are sitting somewhere right now with your own version of that number, the one Social Security produced after a lifetime of working jobs that needed doing and that did not make you rich and that you are proud of anyway, I want you to hear this clearly. The number is not the problem. The number is fine. The number is, in the right place, a genuinely good life, not diminished, not compromised, not making do. A life with fresh fish and a boulevard at sunset and savings that grow every month instead of shrink, and a child who shows you what she learned on Monday mornings. That life exists. It costs $548 a month. It is 20 hours on a plane from where you are. The 2 plastic chairs outside my door are good ones. There is a third one inside if you need it. Come sit down.